Good afternoon. Welcome to Who's Tom and Dick? With your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer.
Well, good afternoon to you all. Hello, Patrick. How you doing?
Howdy, Martin. Howdy.
Howdy. Is that to all our American?
Well, we've got more American listeners than we have in England at the moment, so yeah.
We'll have to learn a greeting to all the world soon. But
Yeah.
Anyway, today's something a little bit different, isn't it?
It is. We've got a bit of a surprise on our hands.
We're going to introduce our lovely other halves.
I don't know. I don't know whether I'm looking forward to this or not, really, do you?
I don't know if they are.
I think we're going to get a right grilling here.
But what we're going to do is a little bit different. That we're all going to sit here and have a formal chat and talk about. Obviously, everybody knows what Patrick and I have gone through, but what the world people don't realise is what our wives go through as well, and what other wives go through all over the world with people who have got similar illnesses. So anyway, that's what we're going to do today, aren't we, Patrick?
This one's totally devoted to the partners of the patients and their perspective on the whole thing. So we've got Lynnie Weavers and Wendy Mortimer. That's not their stage names, that's their real names. And
Yeah.
we welcome them onto the show. Hello.
Hello, girls. Hello.
Good, right. So I think they're a little bit nervous, but I'm sure once they get into the flow of things,
I think so.
we won't have any problems.
Well, we're still nervous, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we are. We're still making mistakes, but we're learning as we go.
Well, especially today, we're going to be nervous. We might sort of find out things that we didn't realise.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Had a lot of coffee, so be warned.
Yeah, she's high.
Yeah. Anyway, have you got any questions to fire?
Oh, I've got loads of questions to ask,
All right.
and I thought I'd ask most of mine to Wendy because, and then perhaps if you ask Lynnie, because then we'd find out different answers perhaps. But
Well, I think the questions are aimed at both, really.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we'll take the answers as they come. I've got the bleep button ready. So
You might need it.
yeah, you never know.
anyway, go on.
So Wendy, obviously Patrick's had 2 heart attacks. Where were you were you with him when he had his heart attack, his first one?
No, I wasn't. I was out. I'd been out shopping, as I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But when I drove down the drive, my younger son was putting Patrick in the car. And I said, okay, what's up here then? And Patrick said he'd had some pains in the chest. So I said, right, we'll get out of that car and you're getting in mine. And I took him straight to Bury Hospital myself.
Wow.
So, which when we got to the first roundabout as you come into Bury, he said, I feel better now. I think we can go home and I'll go back to the football. I said, no, we are going straight to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital and made him go in because I knew there was a history of heart disease in the family.
Right. Yeah. So did Martin follow behind as well, or did he just sort of?
No, he went to the football. He did, honestly.
Did he
Yeah, he
really?
rung up a mate and said, I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come?
I like it.
Yes, Martin went and done the support the Ipswich team.
Yeah.
So no.
Well, I hope he called at half time to find out how he's doing.
No, I just took him there myself.
Yeah, no, because I often wonder, if people are with people and the sudden shock that they get, when they suddenly find these, things out. And so, I mean, during the day, had you been together during the day?
Only in the morning,
Yeah.
which everything was fine. I knew Pat was going to the football, so I went off and done some shopping in the afternoon, as I normally do. And luckily enough, I came back just at the right time.
I tell you what, you did. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we had Andy on, didn't we? And he was talking about Andy Reid, and we was talking about good timing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was good time. I know you had your son there as well, but it was good timing that Wendy was there.
Well, the difference is if my son was taking me over and I said to him, I feel better now, I can get to the football, he'd have turned around and take me home.
Yeah. The right person was there at the right time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And what about the second one? Was you?
I was there at the second one. Not that he had the heart attack there and then in front of me. We were actually looking after our 2 grandchildren, and his brother Tony had come over to see us. And Patrick kept getting up and wandering around and holding his chest, and I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "I just don't quite feel right." So I said, "Well, go in there and sit down." And he sat down, and then he said to me, "Actually, I think I need to go to the hospital." So luckily enough, again, Tony was there to look after the grandchildren. So again, I just pushed him into the car, drove like a bat out of hell to get to the hospital. But with this one, he did keep trying to fall asleep in the car and putting his head against the window,
Right.
which I kept slapping him.
Yeah,
and
to keep him awake.
Literally gripping his leg really tight and said, "Don't you go and fall asleep on me." So the minute I got to the hospital, I just flew out the car, and luckily there were some paramedics standing outside of one of the ambulances, and I just literally ran over and said, "I think my husband's having a heart attack." So they rushed across and dealt with the situation.
So were you aware of this face slapping on
Well, not,
waking you
that
up?
wasn't actually unnormal. But, I was, conscious, but just felt tired and breathless, really.
Yeah.
And,
and how did the football results go? I can't remember that night now.
no, nor can I. But, then I got into the ward and the first one and had the heart attack in the hospital, which was fortunate.
Yeah. Well, at least you got him there. But I do believe now that through Patrick talking a couple of weeks ago that you have to call the ambulance now rather than you speed off to Bury
Yes.
Hospital.
Yeah, I was told that I should have phoned 999 because they would have sent a first responder out who could have treated him until an ambulance arrived.
Yeah.
But I was always thinking to myself, I think I can get to the hospital quicker than the ambulance.
Yep.
That's exactly the same thought that I said to Pat at the same time. You weigh it up, don't you? You think by the time that's going to come, then you get there for both ways. You get expert treatment because you know how far it is from Bury to. But
the trouble is, in those sort of situations, a minute feels like an hour. So when you think might have to wait 15, 20 minutes, not being able to do much.
Whereas I think if you're in the car, you feel more in control
Yeah.
of the situation and you're doing something positive. Whereas you're just sitting, you're waiting, and it feels like an eternity.
It does.
For somebody to turn up, and supposing they get lost.
Exactly, yeah.
These things must have been going through your head.
Yeah, because we're not the easiest. We didn't live in a place that's easily found, and I know full well postcodes always take people to the wrong address. So they always end up phoning up and saying, "Where are you?" So I thought, well, there's another waste of time. So I just thought, well, I'd put him in the car and go myself.
Yep.
Yeah, never thought about the postcodes. We have the trouble with ordering an Indian meal, don't we?
Yeah.
They never find out which one we're coming to. So if that was an ambulance, we'd be in a race.
Hang on a minute. Do they do Indian meals in Norfolk?
Of course.
I thought it was all turkey and chop.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to ask Lynnie a question.
Go on then.
Lynnie, you were sitting in the hospital with the oncologist and he dealt Martin the awful blow that he'd got stage 4 lung cancer. How did you feel and how did you deal with that?
I instantly burst into tears. Nobody could talk me round, and just the whole world just exploded and everything just went crazy. I couldn't handle it. I still find it difficult now to handle it, but it was just like somebody. I said to the consultant, "What stage is it?" And he said, "It's stage 4," and that's when I just completely lost the plot. Just lost it. And I remember the nurse touching my arm, and I'm sitting there thinking, "Get your hand off me because I'm going to lash out."
All
And
right.
it was the worst thing ever. It was my biggest fear of anybody I care about, and Martin is my complete world, and to have that world ripped apart, and very angry as well. I still am very angry about it. So yeah, it was awful. It still is.
Yeah.
And I knew the nurse was comforting Lynnie, and I was just asking the guy loads of questions.
Yeah.
And it was
You said it was like you were just floating above and looking down.
yeah, as if they was talking about somebody else. It wasn't me there.
No,
It
the
definitely wasn't me.
consultant, his bedside manner was zero. It was just blunt. But then I understand he has to say this 10 times a week to 10 people. So maybe it's a coping mechanism for him, and he doesn't take the work home.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So Martin was definitely the calmest of the two.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So it hadn't really hit home.
I think
with you.
I still am.
Yeah,
uh,
you still
to
are.
be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't treat it lightly, but yeah.
You're very happy-go-lucky, very positive. I'm a very emotional person. Some would say a little bit highly strung, but I'm a redhead. So I fly off the handle. But yeah, my heart is on my sleeve, and my heart was completely ripped out of my chest.
But my heart was certainly out of my chest. But it's a thing that I've learned to deal with in a different way to you, haven't I?
Definitely.
It's just something somebody really can't imagine, So until they go through that experience themselves,
it's like someone saying that this is the end of your life, because that's the first thing you think of. But then since then, I've now thought of all the positive things that I can do still, and that's why we do this.
Yeah,
isn't it? That's why we first thought about doing this. And some people might, just sit at home and mope. But I certainly am not going to do that.
And I remember when he told us the diagnosis and everything. I remember swearing at the consultant, and I remember thinking, "You've got the wrong person here. This isn't. You're not talking about my husband. My husband hasn't got this.
Yeah.
My husband's got COVID. That's it. We thought it was long COVID.
Yeah.
And it was, as I said, it was just like it was an out of body experience.
All right.
And just the sheer anger and wanting to lash out and just rip the room apart.
So it was a real bolt out of the blue.
Yeah.
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 You didn't have an inkling of it at all when you went into that meeting?
Oh, we knew by then that there was something drastically wrong, didn't we?
Yeah.
But until I'd gone to the doctors, I never thought, which was only a week before that, wasn't it really? Or 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
I never even had. This is I think this what with Lynnie is. I don't know this. I mean, we've spoken about it, haven't we? Obviously, I think the most frustrating thing for Lynnie is that she never saw the signs. She wasn't in control of it. You never saw stages 1, 2, 3. It was straight. You've got stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
And I think you'd like to have done something. Sorry?
There was no symptoms. There was no warning signs. There was nothing. It was just, this is what you've got.
Yeah. So one day you were happily enjoying yourself. The next day, a bolt out the blue.
Because I know with Lynnie, she likes to manage the situation of everything, don't you?
Yeah.
And you couldn't manage that situation, and I think that's the biggest frustration, or one of them.
And I still can't.
So So going back to you, Wendy, had you ever been in a situation like this before? With someone having a heart attack in front of you, or anybody being another illness, serious illness?
No, not really. My dad suffered with heart disease as well, so I kind of knew a bit about it. But just harping back to what you were saying about symptoms, that Martin didn't have any. I couldn't really see any symptoms with Patrick either. But then when I think back to the first one, I know we had been only about probably a week before, Patrick had been, and all the kids, we'd been raking up the leaves in the garden. And I do remember that Patrick had only done about 15 minutes and he went in. And I thought, well, that's unusual. So I think that could have been a sign that there was something not right, looking back. But other than that, no, not really any. I've never been in a situation where someone's had anything happen to them that I've had to deal with.
It's a thing you don't want to have in your life. But I just wondered if, you'd been around and you knew exactly what to do and you thought, and hold a hand at this.
No, because I was very young when my dad had his heart disease.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have anything to deal with that at that time. I was just a young girl. But no, like you say, you don't ever want to be around anyone and have to deal with it, really. You wouldn't wish it on anybody.
I think even if you've done a first aid course, then it's different. This is your husband.
Yes.
This isn't some random person where you think, I hope you say, okay, this is your entire world.
Yes.
Is there in front of you and you feel helpless.
Yeah.
Completely. There's nothing. Yeah. And the best thing you could do was to put him in that car and get him there.
That's right. Yeah. Because I knew I needed to get him to someone that knows what they're doing and can help. Whereas I knew I couldn't. And I know, and I am very bad actually, because I know I really should learn how to do CPR. and I don't.
Have you not done it?
I've never done it.
No.
But I actually said to Patrick the other week that is something I'm really going to do.
Yeah, we did it on where you was working, and I joined in with you, didn't I, one night?
Yeah.
At my daughter used to work for my daughter, and so we had a little practice, didn't we?
Again, I think you'd like to think, even though we've had the training, I'd like to think I would know what to do. But if it was my husband lying there on the floor in front of me, clutching his chest, your brain just goes. You forget everything you've ever been taught.
Yeah.
You know, because you're so passionately involved with that person. Whereas if it's a random stranger, you're like, I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
But there's no feelings there. But when it's your husband, it's a real.
Yeah, you're right. Your mind just goes blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I did when I was in the working world, I'd done a course of first aid, and then one of the painters came into our room where I worked, because I had an office job. I was all suited and booted, and anyway, one of the painters came in, and he actually collapsed. I'm talking to him 1 minute, the next minute he collapsed in front of me, and I thought that everybody was trying to play a trick on me, that he was doing it, and then suddenly I realised within a few seconds it wasn't. And I found it easy to do what I had to do, the first aid training, with him. But I often wonder, someone who I really love, if you do go into panic mode with them, because it is, I like the guy, but I certainly wasn't in love with him.
And it's definitely a fight or flight moment. When that adrenaline kicks in, it can go either way. So I definitely think you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Lynnie, what was going through your head that you didn't tell Martin, and you haven't told him to this day? Anything?
It's probably a lot, I reckon.
There's a chance.
You've opened up again.
I know.
Well, I said I'm very emotional about this subject. The biggest fear is being without him.
Yeah.
When he goes, then my world ends.
Yeah. Are you taking any counselling for that?
I have been, but it's kind of exposed everything else that was going on in my past and in my head, and I've stopped the counselling at the moment because it's not the right time. That's not to say that in the future I won't go back to it. I probably will, but at this current time, I've stopped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you felt that wasn't in the... You told me, didn't you? It wasn't in the right direction for what you needed.
Yeah.
Would it make you feel any different now that we've had the better news, or do you just want to give it a rest for a while still?
I would just need to walk away from it at the moment, for me.
Because at the moment, I mean, we're really, really happy about it, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, not happy about what I've got, but
The latest results, yeah.
but we're happy with the results
But
and all that, yeah.
When you were first diagnosed, I mean, the only way I could cope was to blot it all out and drink. And then every time, you've had a drink and you have a bottle, and then you wake up the next day and it's there.
Yeah.
And you feel like, hell, because you've got a hangover, but it doesn't take it away. Doesn't, in fact, it makes the emotions even worse. Yeah. Because you're, very upset, you're emotional, and, alcohol does that to you. But then I've just had to learn not to do that. And, when you open a bottle, it's rude not to finish it.
Well, that was my worry when Martin found out that his nearest defib was on the wall of a pub.
What, that Lynnie would come first?
Stop there and have a couple before she came back. Yeah.
Anybody listening, I must dispel any rumours that my wife drinks a lot. Just when she needs to. So, Wendy, days from, since Pat's had his heart attack and all that, some days he must be, I mean, I see him and he's always coming across all happy and joking like he does on this podcast and all that. But you see days when he struggles, and do you know when he's going to struggle for the day, or is it a thing where you just think, Christ, he's having sense the signs?
Yeah. He tends to, believe it or not, he goes fairly quiet. I know.
Wow.
I know. Surprise. Yeah. Surprise. No, he does. The day might go on, And I thought by midday, I don't know, he hasn't said much today. He's a bit quiet. So I usually say to him, "You all right?" He goes, "Just have one of my off days," which I know to expect because, again, seeing my dad with it, I know he had off days. So, and he tends to just sit quiet for the day, and he'll come round by the end of the day. And then he's just back to his normal self again. So that's about the only signs, though. He just goes
so you just
really quiet.
Let him get on with it.
Just
and then
let him get on with it, and he'll do the day at his own pace, and then he'll be fine the next day.
Just can't imagine him quiet.
I know.
That's the difficult thing, though, isn't it? It's a fine line between mollycoddling them
Yes.
and letting them get on with it.
Yeah, I don't mollycoddle him.
No, I don't get any of that.
I've said that to you, haven't I? Don't.
Yeah, I mean, I fuss around you, and I know, you know, that I don't need to, but sometimes...
I appreciate what you do. That's the thing. Yet now and again, the frustration of what I have.
Yeah.
You know, when like Lynnie said, I was struggling this last week with all the.
It's a build-up, wasn't it? to
Yeah,
the
and I said,
results.
don't mother me.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
just
the thing is, when you have your off days, that just you know, when you're having a good days, you carry on and enjoy yourself. When you have an off day, that just reminds you you're ill, and that sort of makes you angry and moody, I think. And I sit and watch the TV or something, or try and get on with something, so it doesn't affect anybody.
I don't think I have moody days.
No.
I don't think I'm moody. Am I? Oh, well, look, I'm looking across the table now.
Well, perhaps you'd like to answer that, Lynnie.
Perhaps I do. Do I?
I wouldn't say moody days, but you get really frustrated by things.
I always think I'm happy all the time.
But you were just telling me on holiday that you were in the right mood.
Well, no.
Well, yes, you were, or no, you weren't. Lynnie, I'm not
He
going to ask
sounds like
you.
a headmaster
you
now, doesn't
you keep quiet, Lynnie.
Yes, it was a pain in the bum.
There you go.
All right, well, answer that then.
It was understandable. I get why you were anxious about the results, as was I. But you didn't really open up to me until halfway through the week when I said to you, "Why are you picking on me? Every little thing is pick, pick, pick."
Yeah, it just seemed...
That's the first time I've heard you quiet for a few seconds.
It just seemed everything annoyed me. And it wasn't Lynnie. Anything annoyed me that week, but it was just that week. We all have an off.
But that's the
off few
problem, you know,
days.
as your mental health.
It
you
is,
know,
yeah.
that you've got this thing trapped in your brain. Now you've got these results coming up. It's not prominent, but you know they're there. So, you know, when you try and enjoy yourself or do something, you just think, oh, I hope these results are going to be okay.
The thing is, hey?
It's always there, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, the worst thing that someone can say is that it's spread. And we've had that, haven't we?
Well, that's why it can't be operated on, because it will spread.
Yeah. So we never want to hear those words again. We understand that one day it could happen, but with this new drug, I hope it doesn't. But we realise that it spread before because I was off the drugs.
Yeah.
And when you're not on the drugs, you haven't got nothing to stop it. So that's why it came. And then you think, has it gone to such a point? Well, this is all what I was thinking last week anyway. Has it gone to such a point where it's never going to come back? But luck would have it. I mean, this is the least I've ever seen it now. It's unbelievable. So medication. I mean, we have a big thing about this. Does Pat remember his medication, or do you have to remind him?
No, he is very good. He does remember it. See, he will just get on and take it. So occasionally we've gone out for a day and he'll go, "I've forgotten to bring my medication with me." We've actually gone away and he's forgotten it.
Oh, God.
At least it was just like an overnight thing. Or like, oh, well, at least you can take him as soon as we get home.
Yeah.
But apart from that, no, he's really good with his meds.
Because he was telling me that he takes 2 or 3 lots in his little Dosset box, or you call it something else, don't you?
Yeah, pillbox.
Pill box.
Yeah. Well, there
What
is
do you
one-
call it, Wendy?
Oh, just his med box.
We've got another name now.
There's so many.
That's another name for the equation.
There was one time when I kept getting lightheaded and headaches, and I know that bisoprol is prone for those sort of side effects, so I stopped taking it, and my blood pressure went through the roof. I was checking my blood pressure, and I got a right rap across the knuckles for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did get told off for that one.
I tend to forget my meds, and Lynnie rings me up from work, And Lynnie knows the time I have my meds, and she says, "Have you had them?" Mm-hmm. In fact, just before we started recording this, you made sure I had my meds, didn't you?
Well, you're fine with the morning and the evening. It's the bits in between, and the bits in between make sure that your temperature stays normal.
Yes.
Whereas if you forget those bits, the temperature goes up, then you crash.
Yeah, we had this big thing that I was going into hospital because of
The temperature.
Yeah, the temperature. And we found out that just
paracetamol.
Paracetamol. That's all I've got to have.
4 times a day.
Just, yeah.
You remember it twice a day, and I kept saying to you, set an alarm. I don't want to set an alarm. I don't want to be governed by that my whole life. I said, well, fine, go back to hospital then.
There is one tablet Patrick kept forgetting, I believe, the mid-afternoon one.
Yeah.
That he just now takes in the evening with the rest.
Yeah. I couldn't ever get round to taking that afternoon tablet. And every evening I went to my tablet box to take me nighttime ones, and that one was still there.
Yeah.
So now I just put it in the nighttime box. And
See, I can't do that because the two I've got are paracetamols, and I have to have 2 at night time as well, and then 2 more. So I can't add those 2, and the only ones in the afternoon I forget are the 2 paracetamols.
Yeah, the paracetamol, so the only painkillers I'm allowed to take. I can't take any other painkillers. So if I get any headaches or anything, that's all. I can't take no ibuprofen or anything like that.
Oh, wow. Well, obviously it's a big change in your life. Has it changed your lifestyle? Are there things that, did you used to go, skiing and now you've stopped? Has it really, really changed your lifestyle, or?
Patrick skiing.
I'd love to see that.
Doesn't like
I'd pay
cold
to see
weather.
that.
It's cold, too cold.
Yeah, that's right. No, but things that, you used to do, in abundance and all that, and then suddenly you think, God, we used to do that, but...
Yeah, it's...
Went the opposite way, really, didn't it? Because, I've got a pilot's licence. And when I had my first heart attack, I said, right, I want to get my pilot licence back, which is pretty hard once you've had a heart attack. And then I got a race licence as well, so I went the opposite way, really.
Yeah, we did. We both started racing, didn't we?
Yeah.
In fact, it was me who was going to start racing, and you just come along and said, oh, well, I'll do it as well.
Well, if she tells the true story... Go on then.
He got his licence before me because I skidded off. So I had to retake it.
So when you was racing the minis, because I remember you racing these minis and all that, and had you had one heart attack and this was in between?
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It was after
Because,
the first
folks,
one.
you could have gone to a toy shop and bought Pat's Mini, couldn't you?
Sky Electrics released my Mini,
Yeah, they did, officially.
And we saw it one day in a toy shop in Spain, didn't we?
We
I think
did.
you took a photograph and sent it to me.
I did. I went in and saw the bloke behind the counter and I said, that's my Mini. I raced that. He didn't understand a word I was saying.
That was a J.R. Hartley moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to sign it for him as well, but he didn't seem a bit interested. So.
I think you just wondered who you were.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lynn, is there anything you'd like to say to Martin that you haven't said?
Apart from take your medication seriously.
Set
an alarm every day.
Yeah, I'm not talking about sort of marital issues, farting in bed or anything like that. I'm talking about his health and his mental health.
Sorry about the language.
That's all right. Anything you sort of emotionally feel that you haven't been able to say, do you think? Or have you been pretty open together?
I think I've been pretty open. When I need to cry, I cry. When I need to scream, I definitely do. Play a lot of, the music is full blast. I've got some really good friends at work who I can lean on, and when he was in hospital for 2 months, I would go to work, I would go to the hospital, I'd come home, and my friends at work were a great help, and I've been in tears, at work, and my friends are just, everybody just, they know when I'm having a bad day, they give me a hug. I'm honest at work as to what's going on at home. I'm honest with you, Arno, about what's going on in my head. And often I say to him, you might not like this, but... And I say
No, I
anyway.
don't. No, I do.
And I my life is an open book. And I have no filter, so whatever comes out my mouth just comes out. Even I'm surprised sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've always been honest with him.
We always talk about... I mean, we never row, do we? And, we have...
We're too lazy.
I was a bit eggy last week, but as I said, it never gets into a full-blown rows ever because we talk and sort it out, don't we?
We do.
And so anything
And I always give in.
Right, moving on.
So have you had to change Pat's diet throughout all this, or does he just ignore?
He tries to be good.
Does
put it
he?
That way. I would like him to be better, but he is someone who absolutely loves his food, especially the chocolates, cakes, biscuits.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
So I would like him to be better, but I also understand how hard it must be not to have those things you love. So a little bit more green stuff and a little bit more exercise would go down a treat, but he knows he should do it.
Yeah.
I can't force him to do it, so...
Because you're still working, aren't you?
I do still work.
So you should be changing the diet, really, shouldn't you, Pat?
I should be.
If you're doing the cooking.
I am changing the diet to a certain extent because when I try and go through the cupboards at home to get something to eat as a treat, as either grapes, bananas, apples, blueberries, blackberries.
He moaned about that to me.
I bet he did.
fruit, you know.
And then I come around for lunch the other day and that's all I could eat. So I moaned.
Look after both of you.
Yeah, the food is a difficult one, really. I know I should be doing better, but at least I don't smoke or drink. I trade that off a little bit against it.
Neither of us do.
No.
No, I make up for that. But you do like your sweet stuff, don't you?
I do, yeah,
You
I
are
do.
shocking
Yeah.
sweet stuff.
Which was when it didn't help with this type 2, did it, when I got that
that's
time?
how you got to 20 stone.
Yeah, but
And now you're not.
no, but I do worry now that I'm putting some more weight on.
But the doctor said you have to do that in order to give yourself a fighting chance because the cancer will strip everything from you.
But I tell you what, if it means that I get this cancer thing back melted and I put weight on, what the heck? But
That's
he
right.
does say, he did say that he doesn't want too much, didn't he?
Yeah,
But
he said, don't worry about it. He said, it's the least of your worries. Just concentrate on doing what you're doing and take every day as it comes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you obviously go for consultations with people? Do they talk to you about your diet? Or?
Wendy was actually sitting in the back room when I went to see a nutritionist. She'll probably tell you about that experience.
Oh, you mean the fruit pastels?
I was in a room with about 30 other people who had the same illness that I've got, and we had a nutritionist come in to talk to us. And Wendy will take over from there.
Yes, I did hear somebody, I couldn't see who said it, but I knew who said it. If I eat fruit pastels, do they class as one of my 5 a day? And I thought, that's Patrick.
Yeah.
And it was.
See, that was my attitude all the way through. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. But the other 29 people in the room were looking at the floor thinking, what am I doing
when they're
here?
going to have the next heart attack.
This is a waste of time. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
You know. So
No, I'm with Pat on that one. Not on the 5 a day one, but but with his attitude.
So Lynnie, is there anything you do like or don't like about Martin?
Well, he doesn't snore anymore, so I like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't fart a lot either. He used to fart like a pig, but, you know, and if he does, he blames the medication.
Yeah.
So he thinks he gets away with it.
I've got cancer. Yes.
Apart from that, I have to admit, I like everything about him. So
Good.
he's my best friend, and, you know, long may that continue.
And the same question to you, Wendy.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Only because he asked that question.
Have we got
Patrick
long
does
enough?
snore and a lot of farting.
That is the medication.
But no, he is my friend, confident, love him to bits.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
likewise.
sometimes I think...
Not you, Wendy, but I,
Sometimes I don't think our other halves, I should say, perhaps don't realise how much we do worry about you.
Yep.
I think I know how much Lynnie worries about me. Definitely. Do you?
Yeah. Well, I do.
We
Definitely.
we do worry a lot.
You know, but when you're sort of trying to live your life, you sort of forget about that sort of thing to a certain extent sometimes. And
Because we're in the same boat kind of thing, aren't we? Because we've both got the illness, and you girls both go out to work, and I think it's really good that you have now got friends at work that you can talk to, rather than when we was first sort of married and all that, you know, you worked on your own, didn't you? Mm-hmm. So you didn't have anyone to talk to. And then when you wasn't working, obviously I wasn't around. So at least you've now got people to talk to.
I think also for me, probably same for you, Wendy, it is difficult to sit back and watch the person, you know, who's your entire world. And you guys, to me, you take it seriously, but you're quite flippant about it. And you just go along your merry little way. And I'm left, worrying.
Yeah.
Just worry. And I don't want to put that on you because you're a very happy, positive person. So it's quite stressful being worried about you, even though you don't need me to be worried.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I know even when Patrick looks after the grandchildren, I'm worried, will he have another heart attack when he's with them on his own? Will they know what to do? But they are quite young. And for me, it's my biggest worry is I know there'll be another heart attack. And it's when is it? What day is that going to come? Because I know there'll be another one.
You do think, it's not...
So that's a huge worry.
It's not 100%, but yeah, I suppose you must worry about those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of, you know, people, you know, they're quite flippant about the word being a carer. Well, we are, because you don't care that that come out, you care in a different way that you're ill, but we can see what's happening. And that's why for me, I try and protect you from everything. I always have.
You do, yeah.
You know, and if anybody, you know, so much as looks at you the wrong way, then they have to go through me. And that's why with this disease, it's totally out of my hands. I can't do anything to change this. I can't make it go away, you know, and the feeling of helplessness is extreme, you know, and some days, as I said, it's a frustration of the situation, it's the anger, it's the question, why me, why him, you know, because you said, why me, you know, and there's no rhyme, there's no reason as to why.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and that's the annoying thing, that you can't put it, there isn't any way you can say, you know, some people go, oh, you deserve that. You don't deserve it, you know, and that's just.
But you do help. You do help with my disease, because you ring me up to tell me to take tablets. You know, if you weren't doing that and I wasn't taking these tablets, then all this wouldn't be happening to us now, where it's getting often, slightly better.
I work 10-hour shifts at work and I get 3 breaks, and I will ring you every single time I get a break. And you say to me, go and sit with your friends. And I'm like, sometimes at work, 'cause it's so chaotic and working in the kitchen, I just need peace and quiet. And, you know, when you work in a care home, it's like being in a chicken house. They're all cluck, 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 all noise. And sometimes I just need to take myself away and gather my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then that's when I seek comfort, making sure I phone you, make sure you're okay, you've remembered this, and what's going on in your world. And because 10 hours is a long time to be away, I can find it quite stressful. You know, and I get in my car and I race home to make sure you're okay. And I'm fortunate that I only work 3 miles away, so I can come in 3 minutes, you know, and just put my foot down and come home. And I'm really lucky at work that they will let me do that. But yeah, it's a worry being apart from you. I've always said that, you know, that I find that a concern.
Yeah. Okay. So I've
You brushed over that pretty quickly, Martin.
I know. Moving on.
You were taking that in, I think.
I was.
Been gasping.
And then suddenly I thought, I suppose I better ask the question now. And filled it in with, okay. But anyway, obviously one of my best friend here, Pat, I read up about heart attacks. You know, I'm as you might have done about lung cancer and things like that. But the thing that I read, that a lot of couples, they say it's their second chance. You know, and obviously it's your third chance with having 2 and all that. So
well, in America they actually call it a widowmaker.
Really?
Yeah, a heart attack is a widowmaker.
Oh, right.
I mean, it does put everything into perspective, doesn't it? You know, all those little niggly things It's just
That's what the question was. How has it changed you both as a couple? You know,
I don't think it has changed us that much. I think we still carry on just as we always have. We don't argue a lot. Probably the only thing is the food. I have these digs at him about, but at the end of the day, we just carry on, don't we?
Yeah.
Live for the day and hope tomorrow comes and
yeah,
deal with any situation when it turns up.
I think for us, it's brought us closer together, which I didn't think was possible.
I was going to say, we're pretty close anyway, aren't we? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like now for me. It feels like I'm angry at the world. I could quite easily pick a fight with somebody, and they would lose.
That's why I'm not going to argue with her.
That's why we don't argue. But yeah, I think it's definitely now us against the world, because I can't control what's going on inside him, so I can't get to that. So I will, as I said, I am very angry.
That does make you appreciate the simple things.
It does
more.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Oh yeah, we don't wish for huge big holidays here, there, and everywhere abroad and all that. I mean, we've got our little van now that we went away in last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but no, it's good.
I never thought you'd go for a motorhome, to be honest.
No, I did get involved in that in a little way and give him a kick up the backside about that when he was in hospital. Because one thing you get when you get a illness like this or yours, people talk about bucket lists when they've got nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
But when you've got something wrong with them, bucket lists become more prominent.
Yes.
Getting things done and enjoying bits and pieces that you wouldn't normally. It spurs you on to, even when you go out for a walk and see the trees and change colour and that sort of thing.
Well, you're always walking, you are.
Well, yeah, which is good. Wendy always drags me out on a walk.
Yeah.
But
sometimes to Costa.
Well, for a chocolate cake.
Other shops are available.
Chocolate crispy cake.
Yeah. So I've got one last question for you, Wendy.
Okay.
This is probably the most important question of the whole lot. Do you know where your nearest defib is?
Where we are at the moment, yes, it's up at Sudbury Upper School.
There you go.
So I do know where it is.
Do you know what? That's made my day.
And do you know why?
Why?
She listened to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. And found out.
Yeah.
But, moving on to the defib again, I know we keep going on about this, but I'm just sitting here looking at your lovely cottage here and, nice rural setting. But if anything happened to you, Lynnie's got a choice. She stays with you and calls 999, or does she go out and get a defib and leave you on your own? Honestly,
The thing, and also the signal here is really bad as well. We've only just gone on to the modern fibre stuff, for the web, the World Wide Web.
But we all think a defib's just down the road or help's just down the road, but sometimes it isn't, is it?
No.
In rural locations.
3 miles away, 3.5 miles?
No, it's only quarter. It's the holiday park.
Oh, is it?
Down by the village hall.
Yeah, but that will feel like a very long way away, when,
It's the same distance as a pub, darling.
It isn't.
It is.
Oh, wait, you don't argue, you two.
First argument.
It's opposite the pub that they did up, the village hall. That's where the defib is.
Okay.
I've got a photograph of me by it, haven't I, Patrick?
You have, yeah.
Have you got any more questions, Pat?
No, I think that's about it, really, unless...
I'm all questioned out.
I'm questioned out unless the ladies have got something they want to say.
Yeah, do you want to ask us any questions? They both look surprised here, everybody. Oh, it's nice being perfect, isn't it, Pat?
I've never heard it so quiet.
You've caught us on the hop.
Yeah, well, that's what we wanted to do, and then we can just say goodbye to everybody. Oh, what about my joke of the week?
Oh, I didn't think
The girls.
I didn't think we were going to have that. Anyway, let's have Martin's joke of the week.
I tell you what, I've just sold my vacuum cleaner, and do you know why? Because all it was doing was collecting dust. Liddy's laughing and Wendy laughs.
Did you know my vacuum cleaner's ill?
Is it?
That's picking up now, though.
That's even worse.
Anyway, believe it or not, we're into 40-odd minutes.
Oh.
So we'll have to draw it to a close, I think. which is sad.
Yeah.
But may we
Thanks,
continue.
girls.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks,
You're
girls, for
welcome.
being really honest as
Thanks
well.
for your input. And that was very interesting, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different today.
We'll see you again next week. Take care.